So who's loving the gorgeous September cut files that Virginia has released? The sprig one is one of my favourites from this current release, and I am going to use it today with quite a few different papers and collections. So the main one I've got here is As You Grow, which is a close to my heart collection, but I am going to bring in quite a few of my scraps. So backing cut files is a great way to use up scrap papers. So this yellow paper is an older paper, but I knew that I wanted it to be a big part of the background for this. So I'm just using this new glue here, which is called Quickie glue, and it does dry really quickly. So you have to kind of put bits on and then press it down and then add little bits more. It probably wasn't the best choice of glue for such a big cut file, but it eventually worked, and I have backed the cut file with scraps of papers as well as some of the leftover, the green plaid from As You Grow, and I really like how this came out using that rather than just straight greens. So I backed it on this, well, I've done the backing, but I'm creating the layout base using some of sort of an orange plaid in the background, and then I've put in two other layers of pattern paper that I'll eventually put that second one in. I've just got the grey one there at the moment, which has got these beautiful little flowers on it. I'm going to back my photos. I just wanted them to stand out a little bit because I've used the white cut file and it's very beautiful. I just felt it needed the photos needed some separation from the background. So I'm popping those on there. Now these flowers were given to me straight after, well, about day 2 or 3 of lockdown. One of our neighbours or people across the road, she's a florist, and she sent my husband a message saying, hey, there's some flowers in your mailbox. So it was really nice to have a little bit of brightness, a little bit of vibrancy in a home that otherwise wouldn't have had any at this stage. So these flowers sat up on the bench and they brightened up the mood around the home while we were in a level 4 lockdown here in New Zealand. As of tonight, I'm filming this the night before I'm going to put this onto YouTube. We're about to finish level 3 here in the lower South Island of New Zealand, and we will be moving into a level 3 Delta. Level 2 Delta is what this one's called. So there are some extra restrictions compared to level 2 last time because of the contagiousness of Delta. Anyway, so I've used one of the older collection lovely papers there in the very back. That's that pretty florals, and then I've got this nice grey flowered paper that I am sticking on top of that. And I'm going to do these in some different layers, and I've got a cool orange in the background. I just wanted the orange because of the flowers to bring that in. So I'm wrinkling up the corners just by pulling them in towards me. It seems to be the way I do all of my edge roughing up at the moment. I just really like how it looks without the paper looking all torn and jagged, and it just fits well for me. So I'm going to eventually stick that down, but what I decided to do looking at it is that I wanted to separate it off. So I'm just going to go along and I'm going to poke some holes all the way around the edge, and I'm going to stitch those using this green embroidery floss. So the green I chose just seemed to tone nicely with the leaves and also with the stems of the flowers. So I'm just going to sew that through, and I will do most of it off camera, but I'm just getting started here. I love stitching on layouts. I find that it's a great thing to do to go and pop away into the lounge and join the family as I sort of stitch around the edge. So I've just done a back stitch all the way around the edge there, and I'm going to use some foam adhesive to attach the cut file, and I just wanted it to lift up a little bit because there is a few dimensional sort of layout pieces that I'm going to be adding on with both my journaling and with the photo and stuff like that. It would have been good probably if I did this bit off camera, but never mind. So this 3D foam tape is really good because it does tear in small pieces, and it does make it easy to apply, and there's a thicker one, a wider one and a skinnier one, so they're really good for fitting in different size, but you know you've got the same dimension from each roll from the rolls that are kind of joined together. So I decided to put the sprig cut file down so it sort of curves around and into the photo rather than straight up or around the other side. And now I'm just going to stick the lower photo, and I do a wee bit of rearranging and stuff like that, and you can see that sticker there in my hand. I must have pulled it a bit hard and it came off, but it came together nicely on the page again. So I have matted one photo with just the cardstock, and then this other, the main photo or the focus photo, I have matted with a few different patterned papers, and again these are all from the As You Grow collection from Close to My Heart. These stickers were also part of this collection that I'm just finding places where they fit around the page, and some of the stickers from the As You Grow sheet as well. So just finding some various points to pop these just to add interest and dimension across the page. Now I did get to a point with this layout where I was like, what on earth am I going to do next? It felt like it needed something more, and it was really cool to be able to share this with the other design team members for Confessions of a Paper Addict, and they gave me some really cool ideas. So they suggested that I did add another title, so I had wondered if Amazing would work as a title. It just felt like it needed something more though, and they suggest another title which I add, and also splatters. So I do some retro splattering, and I'll show you that soon. So what I did with that, with the journaling there, is I cut one of the journaling cards in half, the Picture My Life cards, and I used that just tucked in the side there for it. So now I'm going through some of the wooden embellishments and the gems. You'll notice the acrylic letters that are sort of surrounding my workspace. I did wonder about using those for my title, but they didn't really look right, so I do end up doing something else, but I did make that sort of attempt. So I'm going to colour these wooden flowers, and I'm going to make them yellow so they tie in with the yellow of the cut file. So I'm just using the Distress Oxide and the foam blending tool, and I'm just colouring the flowers like that. I really love using the wooden embellishments because I can either use them natural or colour them up the way I like, and these Distress Oxides really give a nice thick layer of colour that doesn't bleed, so it basically doesn't sink into the grain of the wood. It continues to stand out after time in a page protector as well. So I'm just using the green Tombow glue here to attach these sort of along the bottom and in sort of a couple of clusters here. So just popping them down. I really like how the Tombow gives that stickiness so it doesn't lose its place in the short term, but it really holds well in the long term. So I did toy with using some gems as well. You can see I sort of wasn't sure. Now I've covered up the photo, and I'm now using some of the white and some of the gilt acrylic gloss sprays, the Dina Wakley ones. So just splattering them around, and I really like how it messes it up enough, and it reduces some of the white from the cut file and just helps to blend it in a little bit. So I'm now going to add a title down the bottom, and I found this stitched font which I thought would fit perfectly down there, so I'm going to stamp that in place. And then, so I'm just looking for all the letters. It was quite tricky finding the O. I think it was down with the numbers, but saves having extra stamps for things you don't really need, I guess, when it can double up as both. So I did... I'm just inking this up here, and I'm just using an archival black, and I'm going to stamp this down the bottom there. I've got my foam mat, I turned it over. So now I'm going along and using the white gel pens and a few more splatters. So these are the jelly rolls that I've just coloured it in, and I used the jelly roll 10 because it was nice and fat and gave some nice juicy colouring to help lift that stamp title out. So now I've found some acrylic dots and some gold gems, and I'm just adding these around to add to the splatters or add to the dots that are now sort of infiltrating this page. So I've really enjoyed using this cut file. It's been a while since I've used, it feels like a while since I've used a really detailed cut file and spent that time backing it, but loving how this sprig cut file looks. Thanks Virginia and Confessions of a Paper Addict. If you have enjoyed this video, I hope you'll subscribe and head over to Etsy looking for Confessions of a Paper Addict or COAPA Cutfiles and see what you can find that you want to create with.